And welcome to the United Stand. It's over to you, Manchester United fans, on this video. We really want your input on how you would solve the current Manchester United crisis. It's not an easy crisis to solve, and I'm sure there'll be a bit of opinion, but get commenting below and give us your thoughts. It's very easy, and we've been guilty of it, and I think a lot of Manchester United fan channels, outlets have been as well. It's easy to fall into the Louis van Gaal in or out bandwagon at the moment. And you know what? The problem, I believe, is bigger than that, and I think a lot of you will do as well. Is it board? Is it manager? Is it players? Is it all three? Is it two? Are there other factors that we need to worry about? At the end of the day, Manchester United are on a cliff, I said a few weeks ago. Some would say that we've already fallen off that cliff. How do we get back up to the top of English football and then start thinking about Europe? Because let's be honest, I think the big problem with English football at the moment is it's miles away from being anywhere in Europe, and that is why you've got this Leicester potentially winning the league, because the foot's been taken off the pedal by the bigger clubs. But we're talking Manchester United. How would you solve the current crisis at Manchester United at the moment? For me, there's an acronym. It's BIF. Not Biff from Back to the Future, for those of you old enough to remember. I'm talking board, identity and football. These are the things that I would change. The board is a big problem at Manchester United. Louis van Gaal should have been sacked as Manchester United manager at Christmas. That's not me. I did say it at the time, but so did all of you lot as well, and it needed to happen. The fact that fans like us could see this issue 4 months ago and the club didn't, and they are paid millions of pounds to make those big decisions, is a concern. And feeds into what I'm going to say in a minute. Football isn't rocket science. You don't need a degree, A-levels, GCSEs in football. God, look at the people who are doing after-match commentaries. You know, they're talented because of their knowledge of football in their feet, not necessarily in their head. We could see what was going to happen at Manchester United, that keeping Van Gaal would spiral us down into the depths further of despair, and it has happened, and well done to the fans for seeing that. I just wish the club could have seen it. This is the issue with the board. We have owners who bought us on a massive mountain of debt. I'm not getting into that. They bought us off a massive mountain of debt. That debt gradually comes out, but they make millions and millions and billions of profit from us because they bought us because they could see the amount of profit they could make out of us. There's a man in charge called Ed Woodward, a fantastic businessman at making money for the club, but a terrible businessman when it comes to footballing decisions. He's made two absolute stinkers with David Moyes and Louis van Gaal. David Gill said in January, the decision to sack Louis van Gaal is Ed Woodward's, not the board. Which brings me on to the board. David Gill, very, very good chief executive of Manchester United in his time. He's got fingers in other pies now. It's called UEFA. He's not as involved at Manchester United now. You've got Sir Alex Ferguson, Sir Bobby Charlton, absolute legends of the club. For me, they are out of touch with the modern game, and what power do they have anyway? I personally think that you listen to the likes of Paul Scholes, Rio Ferdinand. These are people that when they're talking about Manchester United, they are passionate about Manchester United. They understand the modern game. We need to rejuvenate our board, 100%. We need to get people like Paul Scholes on the board, involved in Manchester United, giving input on the modern game. I think we are becoming Liverpool in that sense, in that we are reliant on our own boot room, and this is going to send us into further decline. We need to rejuvenate that boardroom. We need a director of football. We need a powerful manager, and we need to start doing what other bigger clubs around us are doing. Not bigger than Manchester United, but big clubs who are succeeding. Barcelona, Bayern Munich. We need to start making these decisions. So one, it's the board. Two, it's the identity. Now the identity, I will say, feeds into the football. It feeds into the football because Manchester United's identity for the last, is it 70 odd years that we've always had a youth prospect on the bench? We've still done that under Louis van Gaal and David Moyes. I'm not going to deny that. But our identity in relation to football has always been exciting, risk-taking, all or nothing. It's certainly not been that under the last two managers, even less so under this current manager. As I said, football isn't rocket science. If you play FIFA on PlayStation, YouTube, whatever, just do this experiment for me, right? When you're next playing, have a judgment about how you play. When I'm playing, I'm getting the ball out wide, I'm going on the attack, I'm attacking. It doesn't always work, but I'm attacking. Now try and do what Louis van Gaal does. It's basically keeping the ball, passing it side to side. You'll keep a lot of possession, but you won't create as many chances. Manchester United, in my whole lifetime of watching them up until the last 3 years, has always been about risk-taking. How would I improve Manchester United if I was in charge right now? A few of you do ask me. I'd go 4-4-2. Not in the old sense. I'd keep it simple. Manchester United have been brought up on this. We use the width. We have people on the right and the left who can cross with their right and left foot. Under Van Gaal, he does it the opposite. He lets them cut back and cross in. As a defender, it's easy to defend against. Our midfielders sit deep under Van Gaal, so there's always players to get the ball when it's passed back. Under Sir Alex Ferguson and Manchester United sides I'd seen previous to that, you get the ball out wide, you put the ball into the box, and your midfielders risk take into the box. As a defensive side, you can't pick everybody up when your penalty box is being bombarded with people running into it. We scored a lot of goals like that. It creates a lot of opportunities. And this is what you do when teams sit back against you. We didn't always score goals under Sir Alex Ferguson like that, because occasionally teams would come at us. But with that pace and drive, you hit teams on the break and you score goals like we did in the Champions League away to Arsenal a few years ago with Rooney and Ronaldo. That's Manchester United. That's the Manchester United I know. That's the blueprint I want to see coming back. Risk-taking, on the front foot, getting players into the box, going forward. We just don't do it under Louis van Gaal. It's very simple to change it. A new manager needs to come in. Louis van Gaal's philosophy just doesn't work, and he was a bad appointment. And I said this, he was a bad appointment because he's been playing this way for the last 5 or 6 years. 20 years ago, yeah, he played differently. Not anymore. And as I said, identity feeds into football. Football on the pitch has got to entertain the fans. Sir Alex Ferguson said it. If you can't entertain the fans at Manchester United, you don't deserve to be there. You've got to entertain the fans. It's not rocket science to do that, as I say. You've got to go on the front foot. You've got to take risks. This percentage football of keeping the ball isn't risk-taking. It isn't what Manchester United do. Get on the front foot. Entertain the crowd. And I tell you what, Liverpool's coming up on Thursday. I know we got absolutely battered. You don't even deserve to be in the tie. But I still think we're in it, because I think the Old Trafford home crowd is worth at least 1, possibly 2 games. If the players turn up, we can turn that around. You get the crowd up because you get them on the edge of the seat, and that is what we need to do. It's identity. The youth coming through is a massive part of it. But for me, what if Jose Mourinho doesn't work is the one thing I wanted to say. How do we fix this crisis? Because that's what it's about, and I really do want to listen to your comments below and get involved in it, and do get involved with each other, because I think this is bigger than Louis van Gaal being sacked. I think it's almost irrelevant to talk about Louis van Gaal being in or out, because 2 bad decisions from Woodward, the board have been part of that, the football's been bad. It doesn't all stop there. What if we get Mourinho in the summer, who I think is the right man? What if it goes wrong? What if in a year's time we are where we are now? Do we then say it's the board or anything like that? I think as Manchester United fans, we need to be looking at what this problem is now. It's too easy to blame Louis van Gaal and say he's the disaster, everything's all right now. There's a decision before Van Gaal that was Moyes that was a disaster. There's things going on behind the scenes with the board that I think need addressing. How we address it, I don't know. I think the club is gripped by the Glazers and Woodward, and what do you do to stop it? Do the fans walk away? If that 60, 70,000 fans walk away from Old Trafford, there's another 60, 70,000 fans who are going to go into the club because of how successful Woodward has made us worldwide. We've got a massive support that's always going to go there. You aren't going to get an empty Old Trafford. You're not going to get it. So how do you force a change? I don't know. Give us your thoughts on that. But what if Mourinho doesn't work? I think he will work, but what if he doesn't work? Who else is there out there? For me, it's a board change. You need to bring some youth into the board. I'm talking the likes of Paul Scholes, even Rio Ferdinand, people like that, legends from the club of the past who are in touch with the modern game, involved in the decision-making of the club 100%. The identity of the club, it's got to be blueprinted. If you're the manager of our club, you don't play that football. Why have we endured Louis van Gaal for as long as we have? It's a disgrace from the owners to allow the club's identity to be flushed down the toilet like it has been for the last 18 months. It's just not Manchester United. There must always be an identity. Barcelona have it. Bayern Munich have it. If you don't play a certain way, you're out the door. And then that feeds into the football. The football must get the fans off the seats, and it must be what Manchester United is. I think over the last 2 or 3 years, we've lost our identity at Manchester United and flushed it down the toilet, and we should never ever allow that to happen. And this is what happens when you have owners who are in it for the money and not for the club. The club has an identity. We're clinging on to that identity and we need to get it right. But get commenting below. It's not just about what I think. I want to know what you all think, because I know there'll be ideas that I haven't mentioned that you will mention, and talk amongst yourself. How do we save Manchester United? Not how do we, because I don't know how we do that. But how would you save Manchester United? I think we're going to get some interesting ideas. Thanks. Get commenting below.